Hi, on today's video. Is it possible to build a muscle after 40, 50 and 60? Yes, it is. Is it possible to keep myself away from injuries? Yes, as much as we can. Remember one thing, every time you move, you might injure yourself. However, applying the right technique, we can keep that possibility away from us as much as possible. One thing that I noticed lately, it was that in the past 2 years or so, we have plenty of videos of deadlifting. Mainly all the videos were talking about deadlifting and long sessions exclusively of deadlifting. And some of the recommendations were to try deadlift every day and go heavy, heavier, heaviest. If you're a professional power lifter and you're competing and that's the way you put the bacon on the table, fair enough, let's do it. Now, if you're not, there's no reason why to do it. However, deadlifts is a very useful exercise for athletes of any level, also you and me, on the right amount and the right moment. For instance, I will put deadlift towards the end of a session of back training, and I will do a few sets of it with a really sub-maximal load. Won't be any close to the maximum that I could reach eventually if I train for that. I want to keep it on half of my body weight in the beginning, and I might increase up to my full body weight eventually. However, working with about 60% of the body weight at the end of a back session, that will be more than enough. And like you will see in this video, I will keep the same weight for different subjects or different ages, just to prove the point here. Enjoy the video. Like, share and subscribe. Cheers. And here we are, time to get started. I like to start sometimes with this exercise, dumbbell rowings, and I like to put my chest on a bench in order not to be hinging up and down with my back. One of the reasons we do it with dumbbells is because having the bench in front of you will allow you to reach the maximum range of motion that you can get on this exercise. Breathe deep and out. Keep your shoulders back and down. Open slightly your elbows so you don't engage too much your scapula. After that, cable rowings. And again, using the experience that you got on the previous exercise, try not to swing too much back and forward. Lock your core tight and bring your elbows backwards. The third exercise will be cable pull downs, pronated grip. And as you can see, Andy here is doing very well. The shoulder is traveling up toward the ears and down towards the hip. That is the engagement of the latissimus dorsi, which is right under the armpit. You see, he doesn't fully extend the arms. There's no need if you really stretch your shoulder up. And for finishing off this part of the training, here we have again with dumbbell and holding your chest on the bench so you avoid to use too much your lower back. Not yet. However, this exercise is engaging all the muscles of the spine down to the lower back, focusing on the traps and rear delts. Next, a tutorial for deadlift. And here we have a good example of deadlift, as you can see in the picture, anatomy picture that we have on the screen. For performing a deadlift, you have to keep your hip on flexion. You might go on extension at the top of the exercise, hip flexion, down, up, hip extension. Let me show you this with our friend here. This will be the back of the spine, side, side, and the front. Let's put it in about the same shape that our other friend. The way you engage these muscles here, the lower back muscles, is mainly by doing this with your hip, which is a hip flexion. I will perform the exercise keeping my hip on flexion and going on extension at the top of the lift. Flexion, extension, extension, flexion. By doing this, you might keep your spine and your disc where they should be. You can always have an injury, but most likely it won't happen if the weight and the technique are correct. Here we can see that this friend of ours has already a little issue here, a bulging disc. And this disc is touching a nerve, so that will provoke pain, lower back, gluteus, down the leg, sleeping foot, many things might occur depending where and which nerve is touching the position of the vertebra that has the bulging disc. The bulging disc will occur, for example, if I put my hip on extension with a huge load, leveraging exactly there, I might squeeze the disc out as it goes here. Whereas if I keep my hip on flexion, there's no gap or daylight where the disc can get off and touch the nerve here. You can see how many main muscles are involved on the deadlift. Actually, all the muscles of the body are involved because you move even your face, you do gestures, so all of them. However, these are the main muscles of the deadlift. You don't need to learn by heart this list, there's no point in doing that. However, if you go through it and you identify your muscles on this anatomic drawing that you have on the screen, you will create some more awareness of what you are doing, and that will help you to keep injuries away from you. So study, study, and study. Cheers. And off we go. Here we start with box pulls. This is an excellent way not to go full range until the hip and the muscles involved on this exercise are fully engaged. And then you can switch still for box pulls, but with some tempo. Here we have a little pause right on top of the knees and then full down. This will give you more control by the time that we go for the full deadlift off the ground. Time to start. Full deadlift. Like Eva is doing, I'm doing very well, as you can see. She keeps the hip on flexion at all times. Mainly remember when you are about to release the weight is when injuries occur. So be focused. The set and the rep is not finished until the weight is fully seated on the ground. Another exercise I like to use for engaging properly the muscles of the back is good mornings. And again, on this exercise, which doesn't have a lot of range of motion, but it's very good for engaging all the muscles from the neck down to my feet, I use a light weight and I go for a few reps, always keeping that hip on flexion. After I did a few sets of about 15, 12 reps each set, then I will go to the box pulls, and in box pulls I will put reps and sets. So I will keep the range short, the weight low, and the reps and sets high, in order to keep my back without injuries, as we talked before. Okay, hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and see you next week on Tuesday. Cheers.